Hi and welcome to Basic Storyboarding Tips 2. Just going to go over a few more storyboarding tips before I get into workflow. Hi, my name is Luis Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist in the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 20 years now. And yeah, workflow is going to be something that's going to be a little bit tricky to talk about, but there is a few things that I left out in the first video about shots that I just kind of wanted really quickly to break down for you so that you can get the full range of the type of basic shots. I did make notes again just like I did in the last video, and here's what I did and what I wrote. And so here we go. Once you have the basic shots down, you can apply them to a larger number of in a larger number of variations. So at this point, once you learn all the basic shots that I talked about in the first video, what you'll end up doing is applying them in many different kind of combinations, and part of it has to do with how many people are in the shots. And when you introduce more people in the shots, you get into this situation where you have two almost basic types of shots within a group environment. So these two shots are side shots and over-the-shoulder shots. Side shots are used for staging clear action, okay? Often used in comedies for clear gag purposes. However, they can be rather dull. They should be used sparingly. As you can see, I have an example of a side shot where you have one character on one side, one character on the other side, and yeah, it's not very dynamic. It's actually kind of flat and dull. However, just like any shot, every shot's a close-up. You want to stage your shots to clearly show the actions you want the audience to see, and sometimes side shots are the clearest action. There is no clearer way to show it. You have both characters clearly shown. They're talking to each other. Whether it's a medium shot, a far shot, an establishing shot, that whatever it is, a side shot is what you've got when you have the two characters fairly staged flat, as if you're seeing them on a stage. Okay? And yes, this is an objective shot because you're separated from the characters. So now we've got over the shoulder. And over the shoulder shot is a much more subjective shot. And it's a dynamic shot meant to give the audience the feeling of intimacy, as if they are part of the scene. So because the camera is over the shoulder of the person, it's as if you're standing next to the person and you're seeing what they're seeing, as if you're part of the group. So that's why it's a subjective shot. So these are two elements that are unique specifically to once you have more than one person in a shot. As you can see now, this shot here is an over the shoulder, and now we have a three shot. And the three shot is any shot that has three characters staged in it. I staged it like this so that there was a variety of shapes. But that's kind of what you want to do once you start introducing more and more characters, more and more shapes. What you want to do is you want to avoid flat, just square shaped shapes within the frame. Kind of anything that kind of echoes the frame, you kind of want to break it up to give the audience a sense of space, of depth. Okay, so that's one of the tricks you do, is you want to vary the sizes of the shapes within the shot. The next type shot is a four shot, where you have any shot with at least four people in it. And then we have five or more is a group shot. And again, this is another over the shoulder. The three shot is subjective over the shoulder here, and this is a objective side shot of a four shot. But you can also have a over the shoulder with a four-shot. And this is a subjective over the shoulder with a five-shot, or it's a group shot over the shoulder. Okay, and the same thing goes with an establishing shot. But again, uh, it's either going to be some kind of side shot that shows depth of the characters, or over the shoulder, or whatever, as long as you're varying the shapes. Okay, so these are the, once you start introducing groups or groups of people or more than one person in the shot. Now, there are some shots that tend to have a little bit more emotional resonance. So what we're going to talk about next, and that is the low angle, where you have the camera very low. It's also called a worm's eye view because it's as if a worm has a camera looking up. Now, a low angle can be very extreme, or it could be slightly less extreme. It doesn't have to be as extreme as I drew here. But this is a low angle shot is a very dynamic shot, often used to give the subject a feeling of power or dominance. Usually, the higher a subject is in the frame, the more powerful or dominating they feel. So, for example, this shot here, we have this character larger than everybody else. So he feels more dominant than these characters who feel more diminished, as opposed to these who are equal in size. You don't get that same kind of feeling of one is more powerful. You can set it up so that maybe this person is sitting and then this person is taller than that other person, and that would be a slight up angle on that person, so it's a low angle shot from over the shoulder. So, you know, it's a variation. What I'm talking about here is lowering the camera just enough so that somebody is larger in the frame, bigger in the frame. It could be as extreme as I put it, or it could be a lot more subtle. But as long as the camera is lower than, say, maybe the person's belly button, or at waist high, or at the knee high, or at feet, it starts becoming much more of a low angle shot. Okay, as long as you have a feeling of looking up at the person. Okay. The next type of shot we've got is a high angle shot. And again, this is a very extreme case on my part. I did it. And by the way, the low angle shot I say is subjective because this one specifically feels like it's very subjective. You feel like you're being dominated. This is the subjective shot too, because you're looking down at the person. This is a high angle shot. Also dynamic, also often used to take away power from subject, make them feel small and vulnerable. You know, often you see this when somebody is sad. The camera is pulled up and further away from them, looking down at them. Again, in this group shot here, we're looking down slightly at these people, or they're at least smaller. You could kind of imply that psychologically makes them more diminutive, more vulnerable, less powerful. And again, the low angle shot and the high angle shots can be used in with group shots, 3 shots, 2 shots. So you just have to remember all the basic shots can also be used with multiple groups, and within those groups there's a lot of variation. But these are the things you want to think about, the emotions, what would be best that will trigger certain emotions in the audience. Is it a little bit lower? Are we making the character smaller or bigger? Are we going to be using a 2 shot? Are we going to be using a mid shot? Are we going to use, if we're going to use a 3 shot, how far or close do we want the camera to be based on also the emotions that we want? What is the clearest staging? All these things come into play. There's so much variation once you get all these things. It's like having words and having to write a novel. It's the way you put the words together that creates feeling, emotion, story. So these are the basic shots that set up cinema and cinema language. By no means are these the only shots. Within this group, there's an infinite amount of variation. All right, so next time I'm going to be talking about process. It's going to be, again, very tricky thing for me to talk about because not everybody's process is the same in every production, but I will give you a general overview of what process is like when you're doing a storyboard. Okay, so thanks you for watching. I hope this has been helpful. If you found this video valuable, I would like to encourage you to return value for value by becoming one of my patrons over on Patreon. Not only will you encourage me to continue making informative videos that are useful to you, but you get extra perks too. For only a small investment of $1 a month, you can get all new videos I create months before anyone else gets to see it. Also, if you have any questions you'd like me to answer as a patron, you get priority and I answer your questions first. On top of that, when you're a patron at any level, you become part of a raffle where I send original art via mail to the winner of that month. The higher your tier, the better your opportunity to win. Higher tier patrons also get access to any art I do in high-res JPEGs and also full access to PSD files to any work I do, including the PSD files of these videos. Currently, there's a huge backlog of downloadable files you can get, so right away you're going to get quite a lot of bang for your buck. And the more patrons I get, the better these videos will get. The more content I can produce. In other words, the more you benefit. Please consider becoming a patron. Thanks. The link to my Patreon is on the screen and in the description of this video. And I will see you next time. All right, bye.